This is the Louie T Network. Hey, either you're outside or you're
in the lab room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I am your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. This is the NFL Draft Prospects 101. Your guide to some of the hottest and biggest names of the 2015 NFL Draft. We're talking wide receivers, and this guy is one of those receivers that can change the game for you, and going to be one of those first round receivers that if you want him, going to have to act fast, not going to last very long. I'm talking about Louisville's DeVante Parker. Let's get into his pros, and you start with his size. I talk about this all the time. It's a passing league, and the receivers are now getting bigger and bigger and bigger every single year, and they're not losing any speed. And that's the most incredible thing about the size of these receivers, is that the fact that they're not losing any speed. These are guys that are 6'3", like a DeVante Parker, 209 pounds, and yet they're still running sub 4.5 40s. Some of them running sub 4.4 40s, which is ridiculous and insane. But here's a guy with great size at 6'3", 209 pounds, and he's very, very quick for his size. He will use his size to shield defenders. That's his next pro. And I love when guys use their frames, because again, nothing worse than a 6'3" guy that plays like he's 5'11". Can't stand it. You know, we love the 5'11" guy that plays like he's 6'4", like a Steve Smith. Can't stand the 6'3" guy that plays like he's 5'11". He's not one of those guys. He's using his size to box you out, to shield you away from the football, to make sure that he's getting his hands on the football and you're not. And so that's a big time pro for DeVante Parker. Excellent hands. Of all the guys I've had the privilege of watching thus far in the Super Six, and I'm not telling you who the Super Six is, you're gonna have to turn in to figure out who the Super Six is, and that's the 6 guys that I believe have a legitimate shot at being drafted in the first round. But of all the guys in the Super Six that I've had the pleasure of watching thus far, haven't watched all of them, he's got the best hands so far. I mean, limited drops. I saw one drop in all the tapes that I watched, and that one drop did lead to an interception. Ball was behind him though. He tried to turn around, make a play, going full speed one way, ball's behind him in the other direction, tried to go back in the bowl game versus Georgia, tips through his hands, should have caught the football. I'm not making any excuses for him, because it was a tough catch, but it's a catch that I've seen him make time and time again throughout the various games that I watched him playing. He's caught that same pass numerous times. So I'm not making any excuses for him, but it was a tough catch through his hands, in the defender's hands, interception. So he doesn't drop the football very often. And there's not a lot of double catches, if any, here. Just a lot of fluid, smooth plucks out of the air. This guy is tremendous. Excellent hands. Dynamite balance. Balance and body control. And what I mean by that is, when he's got the football in his hands, hard to bring down. It's one of these guys where you're like, he's just bouncing off a guy's pinball. Boom, boom, boom. And he's just still up and running and picking up yards after the catch. And I'm like, man, this guy has tremendous, for a 6'3" guy, tremendous balance. And his body control, second to none. Okay? I just talked about him not catching that pass behind him. That's unusual for him. That's not something that's regular for him, okay? That is an anomaly. That pass that slipped through his hands, he has no problems stopping in midair and turning his body this way and plucking the football out of there. He has no problems going up, snatching the football, catching it, and keeping his balance, not falling down and getting up the field. He has no problems going up, high pointing the football, eluding a defender while in midair, and then turning around running for a touchdown. Excellent body control and balance is displayed by DeVante Parker on a consistent basis. For a guy that size, you rarely see body control and balance like the one that is exhibited by DeVante Parker. Can high point the football. And that was something I wanted to see from him, because in the first couple of tapes I watched, I wasn't quite sure if he would go up and go get the football. And again, that can only happen if the quarterback gives you an opportunity to do so. So that's not his fault that I didn't see it in the first couple of tapes, but boy, did I see him high point some footballs and go up and get it in traffic and make some things happen. And so he uses that frame not only to shield guys away from the ball, but to actually go up the ladder, climb it, and go get the football and bring it down. And so DeVante Parker will go up and get the football. And again, with that size and that ability, you're going to have seasons like he did, I believe it was 2013 or so, where you're going to have 12 touchdowns receiving. You're going to have those double-digit years where you're going to have 12, 13 touchdowns receiving because guy can go up and get the football. And at 6'3", you can climb the ladder and go get the football. You're going to catch a lot of touchdown passes. And DeVante Parker is one of those types of athletes. He's a yakster. You gotta be a yakster if you're going to be an elite receiver in this league. I've said this ad nauseum with the other guys. I'm going to say it again. You gotta be able to take the 7-yard slant route and turn it into a 27-yard touchdown. You gotta be able to take the hitch at the line of scrimmage. They're playing 19 yards off the ball, turn around, catch it, make that defender miss, get up the field, make the safety miss, score a touchdown. Take that 1-yard pass, turn it into a 47-yard touchdown. Des Bryant did it to the Redskins week 17. Catches a 1-yard pass, makes the corner miss in front of him, stiff arms the linebacker, outruns the safety, stiff arms him at the end, gets in the end zone. That's what elite players do at the next level. They make guys miss, they get yards after the catch, and they make it count. They turn a short pass into an explosive one. DeVante Parker, again, for his size, it's crazy that he can do that because his change of direction, his subtleness is so extreme. You're like, is this guy 5'11"? Because the way he moves sometimes, he looks like a guy that's a shifty little jitterbug, but he's a 6'3", 210-pound receiver. It's amazing. I know. It's crazy, right? Yeah, I get it. Fast for his size. And when I watched him, I always ask myself, is this guy really fast? Because sometimes you watch him run and you're not sure if he's really running fast or not. And I watched him play against a couple of teams and I said, okay, yeah, because you know, when you're in some of these conferences, man, they're in the ACC, so it's not like they're playing against chumps, okay? Not like they're playing against the little sisters of poor. But sometimes you gotta ask yourself, is the guy really fast or are the guys around him really slow? And he's fast. He's a guy that can get up there, get the motor running, get it running hot, and can run by some guys. And so he's a legit 4.47 type of guy. And at the combine, I think he ran a 4.45, but then he turned around and ran like a 4.50. Whatever the case may be, he's probably somewhere in the middle at about 4.47, and that shows up on the game tape. That's the speed he's running on Sundays, or in this case on Saturdays. He's going to run that same speed on Sundays, and so he's impressive with the amount of speed that he has, again, for that 6'3", 210-pound frame. Let's go to the cons for DeVante Parker. Is it the most fluid route runner? And it's a little surprising because I talked about the subtleness, I talked about the change of direction and how he's shifty when he has the ball in his hands, but he's stiff when he runs his routes. You know, he's not a guy that's going to get down and break it down and come out of his breaks really quick. And so that's not something he excels at, and that's something he's going to have to clean up because guys at the next level, they read you. And if you're one of these guys that takes a long time to come out of breaks, they will jump in front of you, cut in front of you, and take the football. And so he's going to have to be a little bit more urgent in the way he runs routes. And so I expect him to get better at that. But he ran the entire route tree at Louisville. Seen him run dig routes. I saw him run slants and post. I saw him run the go route numerous times. Saw him go back shoulder fade. I saw him do everything, okay? So that's not an issue. He just needs to be a little bit sharper in his route running ability. He's a disinterested blocker. He really doesn't care to block. I mean, if he feels like it, he will. If he doesn't, okay. You're on your own, basically is what I'm telling you. With this guy, he's one of those guys. I talked about blocking as a receiver being much like a rebounder in basketball. It's all about want to. Anybody can rebound. You just got to want to rebound in basketball. Anybody can block as a receiver. You just got to want to. It's a mindset. If I feel like blocking today, and this is DeVante Parker in a nutshell, if I feel like being physical, if that DB pisses me off, early in the game, I'm gonna block the hell out of him all day long. I'm gonna get in his face, I'm gonna be physical. I've seen him get physical with guys on tape in certain games, and then there's other games where he's just like, I could block him. I don't feel like it. I'm a little tired. I did just run a 20-yard, dig route. I'm not blocking that guy this time. Take a play off or two. I'll be all right. I'll block him next time. How about that? And so he's disinterested. He blocks when he feels like it. I'm not a big fan of guys who do that. I want that energy all the time. You need a blow? Tap out. Give me everything you got. I want you to run it down to E, and then when you don't have any more, tap out. Somebody else will come in, catch your breath, get a little bit of Gatorade or a little squirt of water, come back in the game and do it all over again. So I want him to be more physical. I want him to be more consistent as a blocker. How does he handle press coverage? I didn't see it enough on tape because guys were afraid of the speed, and because he's such a big receiver, you would think that, guys would want to come up and challenge him and make him run by them, but it was the actual opposite. They said, oh, he's a big guy. In college football, again, you don't see a lot of elite corners, so most guys are afraid. They're either afraid of your speed or they're afraid of your size. And they were afraid of both with this guy in particular, but more so his size and his speed, so they would back off him. I don't want to go press him because he's going to beat me off the line of scrimmage, and then I'm beat. So they said, all right, I'm going to back off, and I'm going to allow him space to operate, and he would just eat him up. He would eat him alive. The guy that got in his face was P.J. Williams of Florida State. And P.J. competed with him. In that game, now DeVante ate his ass alive, okay? Let's not try to beat around the bush. But P.J. competed, and he won his fair share of the battles. He beat him up, and he was able to get in his hip pocket a couple of times. And so I was impressed with P.J. Williams' ability to just compete, to get up in his face, challenge him at the line of scrimmage and say, all right, man, what you got? I'm not afraid. Get up in his face, put his hands on him, molest him a little bit. I want to see more guys molest him and see what he does when guys are getting physical with him at the line of scrimmage. I didn't see enough of it. Now, I thought he handled himself well against Florida State and P.J. Williams and the pressure that they put on him. However, there were times where P.J. Williams was able to win some of those one-on-one matchups by being physical with DeVante Parker. And one last little tidbit, again, I'm nitpicking, don't really know if this even has an impact on him moving forward. Did break his foot, had a broken bone in his foot, caused him to miss 7 games, the first 7 games of the 2014 season. And so the numbers weren't gaudy in 2014 because he missed the first 7 games, but to come back, have about 40 some odd catches and over 800 yards receiving tells the story right there. The guy is explosive. He's a walking big play. And so I don't know if the broken bone in the foot will be a problem down the road, but that's also something to consider when talking about DeVante Parker. But that's him in a nutshell, and his NFL Draft Prospects 101 breakdown. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab. And you come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. This guy, much like Kevin White, much like Amari Cooper, going to go fast. Limited time offer on those 3 receivers. You better get them while supplies last. I'll see you next time. There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie T, be sure to follow me on Twitter at In The Lab Room, or you can like the Facebook page at In The Lab Room. That's In The Lab Room on Facebook and at In The Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.
Mm-hmm.